Welcome to Toffee TV. It's live at 5. It's 7 minutes past 5. Not too bad from Monday afternoon. Hope you're all well. After that fine victory yesterday, sets us all up, doesn't it, for a couple of weeks of just a bit of bliss, a bit of happiness, no stress for a couple of weeks. We can all just enjoy a couple of weeks without Premier League football, knowing that we had that win. So yeah, get your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on yesterday's performance. Me and Andy, the Piv, have already recorded the final word. Billy is frantically editing that as we speak to get that out. I mean, he's frantic. He's like, no, that gif of Kermit doing that. That's what he's like. Ah, yay! That's what he's literally like over there. I mean, he's not. He's on his phone looking at all the latest news breaking in Shrewsbury, because he doesn't like to be away too long. I'm starting to feel like he might be some kind of Cape Crusader within the Shrewsbury area. But I don't have any evidence as of yet. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure, was anyone expecting me to come on this early? Because I don't think I've had one I have. Gary Ward, he's in the house from the United States of America. And he said, howdy. Bobby C 1878 says, any news on the under-23s leaving on loan before the transfer window closes? Of course, it is the transfer window final day, deadline day for European clubs and lower league English clubs and Scottish clubs. So, not heard anything yet. Everton trying to get rid of Balassi, possibly to a Belgian club. Nothing on Nias, nothing on Cuco Martina. Nothing on any of the under-23s. Bit quiet at the moment. Maybe we would have liked a few of those under-23s to have gone out. Bolton Wanderers have just been, they can buy players. Would that be a good place for some of our players to go? Because that under-23 level is just weird, isn't it? It's very, very bizarre. I mean, we go 2-0 down against Southampton and beat them 8-2. I mean, that says something about the standard for me. Anthony Gordon turning it up, and that's a good level for him. Young lad, looks like he's got a lot of promise. He's the kind of player who should be in the under-23s for me, and anyone above the age of 20 should be out on loan. The likes of Feeney and that shouldn't be anywhere near that team as far as I'm concerned. But you know what, I don't run a youth academy, so I can't exactly sit here and say I know what's right or wrong, because it's not my job. So it's very, very quiet on the transfer front. Magnus says, how's it going, Ped? Someone like Gibson could go out on loan at Bolton. Absolutely agree. Maybe not Gibson, because I think he's our fourth centre-back at the moment. But someone like Morgan Feeney could definitely go on loan. I'd like to keep Gibson, because I think he's definitely a player that we need around the club, because we've only got 3 fit centre-backs at the moment. So, well, 3 senior centre-backs at the club, so he might be someone we want to keep hold of. But certainly Feeney I would definitely send on loan. We've already seen Fraser Hornby go on loan, and so we've seen a number of the under-23s team from last year go on loan. So get your thoughts in the comments if you're watching, if you want to comment, if you want to ask a question, whatever. Just get it in the comments so we can have a little bit of a chat. Otherwise, it's just going to be me sitting here trying to think of things to say. I'm going to have a little look. Let's have a little look on Twitter. Let's see what's going on in terms of any chance of ever anyone selling anybody. Trent, who the hell is Terence? And why is he the number 1 trend? I don't know. Terence Dix. Don't know. Something to do with Doctor Who. I'm not up on my Doctor Who. Did anyone see Velios's goal, by the way? What a goal. Overhead kick. Stupendous. Thoughts? Give us your thoughts on yesterday. Fabian Delphi had an absolutely brilliant game, didn't he? Looked looked superb in the centre of the park alongside Gomez. Looked very, very impressed. Looks like a player who can really control that midfield. I'm just trying to see. Let's get on the blogs. Let's have a look. So Besiktas been linked with Yannick Bolasie. But apart from that, there's not much talk of outgoings. Which is sad, really. I feel bad for, like, Nias, personally. I think he's a very honest player who could do with a move, and I feel bad that he's just going to be sitting on the bench all season. Really do. Not even on the bench. What am I talking about? Not even in the stand, in his house. I think that's our ass on a player. All right, wasn't very good at Cardiff. Didn't score any goals, but I feel bad for him that he hasn't gone anywhere. But still a few hours to go, I think. John Crellin, can you give my grandsons Charlie and Jake a shout out? We're on the beach in Torremolinos just now. Hello, Charlie and Jake. Why are you watching me when you're on a beach? I mean, I'm happy that you're watching, but you're on a beach. Tim Whittle says, what are your thoughts about how Silva managed yesterday's game in the second half? Tim, I personally thought he should have brought the subs on earlier. I thought he should have been a little bit more proactive. But the response from when it went to 2-2 obviously helped us get the winning goal. So, but I thought, they scored a goal when Iwobi was injured, and we were trying to make the change had happened, and or was going to happen, and he would have been helping at that back post. So maybe he should have got things done a little bit earlier. We were winning 2-1. I think we were pretty brave yesterday, but it's about being a little bit braver. The manager held off. It's weird, isn't it? Sometimes when you're watching as a fan, you think players are more tired or whatever, and the manager leaves them on, and I don't know. He'll know the players better than we do, but I just thought we needed a couple of subs there. Steve Hardy says, do you think Everton can make any sort of official complaint about Souness's comments on Keane? Well, the problem is with Souness's comments, they're very open-ended, aren't they? He doesn't actually say anything when he says it. He just says that the player may have been a problem. It's all maybes, and there's no real substance, which is the most alarming thing, isn't it? There's no substance to anything that he's saying about Moise Keane. He sort of hints that he might be a trouble causer, but has no proof to back it up, and actually says he's got no proof to back it up. Now, we could sit here all day and say what we think he was referring to, but without actually any evidence, or without him actually saying it, then what can Everton do? I suppose all I mean, there's been a lot on Twitter about it, and I imagine in other forms of social media that I don't go on, and it depends. Listen, he's been saying a lot in the last 2 years about Paul Pogba, and they continue to give him a job. So I doubt him talking about an Everton player is going to really cause any problems, unless an Everton fan, complains to the TV watchdog or something. I don't know, but I can't really see anything happening. I don't think Sky will be bothered about those comments, because he really doesn't say anything, but they're just pathetic comments. Pathetic, unsourced comments. He's basically hinting that the kid might have been a problem. Well, he's saying the kid might have been a problem without any evidence, without referring to anything, without mentioning the fact that that kid was racially abused when he played Calgary. When we've seen that last night with Romelu Lukaku being racially abused against Calgary. He never mentioned the fact that the incident that when that happened, that his own captain and his own manager didn't back the player up. So therefore, if he's a player and you've been racially abused and your manager and your captain doesn't back you up, then you've got every right to feel aggrieved. Now, add that to the fact that the player was in his final final year of his contract. Add that to the fact that he's seen the likes of Higuain come to the club and all the options Juventus have. Add the fact that his agent is good friends with our owner and also is the agent of Marcel Brands. Add that to the fact that that agent had Romelu Lukaku at the club and thought that Everton were very good for Romelu Lukaku. You add all those things up, and they're the reasons why the player came to Everton. And yet he throws the lazy, poor excuse that Juventus just wanted to get rid of the player because he's probably got a bad attitude. Well, it's just pathetic, to be honest. Absolutely pathetic. And if he keeps doing that enough, Sky, I imagine, will get rid of him. Because that world is getting tougher and tougher and tougher, and other TV channels will start fighting over all the best pundits, and we won't have to put up with people like him, and we won't have to put up with Danny Murphy and Danny Mills and all these. There's players always retiring, and the first thing they want to do is just go into punditry because they don't want to go into. A lot of them don't want to go into management or coaching. Too much of a hard life. And these people are coming in with a fresh take on football because they've just come out of it. I think like now you've got the likes of Tim Cahill and Ashley Cole and people like that. And TV companies like them because they've got friends at clubs. So Arteta's at City. Cahill's got the ear of him. Ashley Cole has got Lampard and he's got John Terry and people like that. So these people, if they don't keep on top of their game, they're going to be on TV less and less. Look at the likes of Alan Shearer. You're seeing him less and less because they don't do the homework. They don't do the research. They don't back comments up with fact. And they'll only go one way. They'll only go one way. Steve S says, "Hi, Ped. I thoroughly enjoyed the match on Sunday. The heart..." Oh, let me just pull this over here. "The heart and intent of the team impressed, as did Iwobi and Delph in particular." Yeah, I thought all three players contributed. Obviously, Iwobi with his goal, Delph with his passing and his cool and calmness in midfield, and Moise Keane with his energy and his runs helped create a lot of space. John Lavelle says, "Thought Dean got terrored yesterday, seemed too eager to be there first, came up trumps with the assist for the third, still the best left back in the league." I just think he played him wrong. I think he went really for the first goal, the ball's there to be won. He doesn't, he lets it bounce, and as soon as Traore gets space to put his body in the way and then uses his pace, he's gone. I thought the longer the game went on, I thought his impact was less and less. We started to double up on him, and then, as you said, Dean gets the crossing, which was a fantastic goal. Gary Ward, glad to see the Toffees finding the net more often. Yeah, 7 goals in the last 2 games is I know 4 against Lincoln, but that's exactly what we need. Confidence for everyone, including the fans, that we can score goals. It gets that, I heard before the game people saying, Everton, I think, were the lowest scorers in all 4 divisions, with just 1 in 3 games. So put that to bed straight away, which is good. Thomas O'Byrne says, "Was it too early to start Keane? Fans were desperate for Silva to start him. In my opinion, he looked a bit rusty." Yeah, he did look a little bit rusty, but I think you've got to. I think there's a case for both of them both the centre forwards to start. But I think you also need to have that crossover period where maybe players will only get better if they starting games, they get enough fitness and then they have to start playing in games. And I think that's where people maybe were getting the wrong end of the stick with some of these players that had come in, like Seb Haller and people like that, with a game or two under the belt at their clubs. Well, if they were fit and ready to go, then they will need a couple of games. But if Moise Kean wasn't fit and ready to go and people were saying we'll play him, but if they're not fit enough to play games, then you can't play them. So maybe the managers judged that one right. We got the win and he got, 60, 70 minutes under his belt, whatever it was. So, fit, yeah. Bobby says, why don't you want a youth academy? What structure do you want for a player development and recruitment? I've not said I don't want a youth academy. You need a youth academy. What I said is that the under-23s is not a youth academy. It's supposed to be the link between the youth academy and the men's game, and it's currently not. It's not working. Really, that's the link between the youth academy and then going on loan somewhere. So, of course I want a youth academy. There is no other structure unless you've got a youth academy. It's the structure coming out of the youth academy that needs looking at. It used to be the reserve league, but players won't play in reserve games now. Foreign players won't play in reserve, and it's not just foreign players, it's English players as well. They won't play in reserve games unless it's fitness. But there has to be, our under-23s has to be about the best 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And anyone above that needs to go and play football somewhere. Now, I don't really like the players going on loan to the championship. But maybe if you put them on loan to the championship with a view to maybe 2 years on loan somewhere. So they go on loan somewhere and then the following year they either go to a Premier League club or they go to a German club or something like that. But I just don't think it works. I think the gap between the under-23s and the Premier League is too big. And we've been putting them out too late on loan. And I think that players are missing out on critical years of development. Kieran Dowell is a perfect example. I don't think he'll ever play for Everton ever again. Because I think the critical years where he should have been on loan, he's missed. Okay, he was on loan last year. And the season before he was on loan. But something's gone wrong in the development somewhere. And we're not getting the best out of these players. We're not getting them through. You can't tell me that Morgan Feeney should still be in the under-23s. He's played for them for 3 years. He should not be in the under-23s. His career, his career is, even if he goes to if he wants to make the step and have a career in the championship, he's going to have to go soon. So I think there just has to be a rethink. Daniel Vicker says, delighted with yesterday's result, we suddenly look an attacking threat. Well, I think that's because we've got a midfield with a bit more movement in it. Sigurdsson getting into better areas. And, if one one winger is popping up at the back post and scoring a goal and the other one's doing the same, then it gives you a threat, doesn't it? It suddenly gives you a threat. Owen says, 4 games in, Amina's been our biggest surprise for me. Really? Didn't we tell you this? Really strong defensively so far and looking a real threat on corners. I think he'll score a late header in a tight game this year. Fans will love him. Didn't we tell you that he was going to be all right? He's a good defender. Degsy in the house. What a football match Sunday. Anyway, what do you make of Plant Potsunes about Moise Kean leaving a big club to go into a very small club like Everton? Well, as we already mentioned, his comments are poorly judged. Degs, let's be said, poorly judged. Gary, have you heard from Baz? Is he able to get Ho out of harm's way? He's probably in Oz by now. No, I think it's going to be all right, but by the time it hits Florida, I think it's going to it's going to disrupt the airport, and that's going to be his biggest problem, actually getting home. I think he's due to fly home Wednesday evening, I think. So he won't know. I know it's this hurricane has caused a lot of problems in is it the Bahamas, I think. So it's been very strong. But you know what? I'm sure Trump will sort it. Sure, he knows a lot about hurricanes, I believe. Nobody knows more about hurricanes than Trump. So I'm sure he'll sort it out, and he'll add a nuke it or shoot it or something. I don't know, but I'm sure it'll be all right. I'm sure he'll be fine. Nobody knows more. Nobody knows more than Trump, so he'll be all right. Bobby C. Del shows what type of mentality Everton have been missing for so long. Too few of our players have been winners. Yeah, I totally agree. He's got a calmness. He's also a very good footballer, which is the most important thing. You can't have enough of those kind of players. I think Iwobi's the same. I really do. I think Iwobi's the same. Tim Whittle says, I've noticed we seem to be better controlling the game in the last 10 minutes when leading. Yeah, there's a little bit more of a calmness. There was yesterday once we got the goal. I thought we controlled it a lot better, a lot less giving stupid fouls away. We controlled the tempo. We kept the ball up the other end. We put it in areas of the park they couldn't do nothing with. So, yeah, a lot better, a lot less. Even with the fans, a lot less nervousness about, I thought. Certainly in the 2 home games. Magnus, do you think it's a necessity to sign a centre-half in January? I know Brands doesn't usually buy in January, but I think we need to. That necessity will come up in January. They'll look at Holgate, I imagine, and see what his progress has been in training and stuff, and think, do we need another one? And only then will we know, I think. But they'll be monitoring that every day. And also the progression of Lewis Gibson. Lewis Gibson's in training with the first team every day, and they think, God, this kid's good. This kid's keeping Richarlison quiet, and he's keeping Moise Keane quiet, and he's doing a job here and he's doing a job there. If we need him, we put him alongside Michael Keane, or, then, he'll be all right. So they'll be keeping an eye on that as well. And I hope that's the option, really, because he's already an Everton player. Stephen Kelly, I paired. Hope you had a good, hope you're well and had a good weekend. I did, because we won. Thought Richarlison was excellent. Yes, thought he showed great leadership from the front. Don't think Pickford had enough credit with his save. Yeah, it was a great save. Start of the season looks a lot more composed. Yeah, I thought Richarlison was excellent yesterday. Just going to pick my laptop lead up. Thought he was excellent yesterday. I thought he got stuck in. I thought he showed the hunger. I thought he led from the front. I thought he played that position really, really well. And his goals were both excellent. Excellent goals. The second one was a proper Everton centre forward goal. Proper. And he was unlucky not to get the hat-trick, which would have been a perfect hat-trick, I think. Right foot, header, left foot, I think. So, a lot better. And you know what? Pickford started the season really well, with his mind on the game. His distribution has been brilliant. His saves, he's made big saves. Made a big save in the Palace game, big save in the Watford game, big save at 2-1 yesterday. He has been excellent, and everything just seems to be right with him. He's just got his head switched, completely switched on, which is really important. Owen says, amazing to me that lazy pundits get away with. The laziness pundits get away with. They didn't even know whether or not there was a buyback clause. Well, to be fair, what I would say in the buyback clause, that's not public knowledge. It's not. They've got a deal. They're supposed to be able to deal in absolutes. You can't just throw things out that you think are true but don't fully know. When the fans know more about the pundits than the pundits do, the pundits lose seriously credibility, no accountability. Owen, Welcome to Toffee TV. Is this not what we're here for? Is this not why we are here? So that you can come and listen to me, and you can put your comments or your questions or your theories or whatever across to me and Baz and Andy, and is that not why club and fan media is going to be the next big thing? And is that not why media companies are paying more and more attention to what we do? Because they make ridiculous statements and just don't have any knowledge. They honestly, they go in there and you know what, pundits, half of them probably don't even watch games of football, check the scores, and then if you listen to them, you could tell, because it's all skimming the top. It's this and it's that and it's the other, and they're not actually getting into the nitty gritty of the game. It's all, and to be honest, we've had this in journalism for a few years as well, but that's getting better as well, where you can tell a match report's been written at half time, and it's all like surrounding the game but not about the game, and showing you a few key elements of the game. It's because of the way things have gone, and because now there's so much choice. You make a choice to come on Patreon, you make that choice, and I've got to try, as someone who wants you here, I've got to try and make this better all the time, continually trying to make it better. The sound, the way it looks, the things we talk about, the guests we get on. I've got to try and make it better, the turnaround and how we get videos out. I've got to try and make it better all the time, because I know you can take your money and you can take it anywhere. You might one day just go, this is crap, the standards have dropped off, they've started taking us for granted. And I've got to do that. Now Sky, they're going to have a similar problem soon, because the way things are going, I know they were the only people showing our game yesterday, but there are lots of ways to watch Premier League games now. Let's be honest, whether it's right or wrong, there is. And that competition is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and if they don't watch themselves, people will start turning off because they don't like. I will put Sky on. I think, I look at Jamie Redknapp and I think it's incredible that he works in football. I think his opinions are just so, I'm trying to think of the right word. They had nothing. They had nothing. I could be sitting next to me dad, and my dad would come out with something more profound and more about the game of football, or whoever. Jamie Redknapp comes on and just talks utter, oh yeah, it was a corner. That's a corner. That it's just, we're getting more and more educated about the game. It's why we have people like Andy on, and why we love him coming on, because I can sit in that chair all day and talk about the game, and about the excitement of the game and what happened in the game. But then I'll put maybe stats on, and Andy will go, see that stat, that's not high enough. As a midfielder, he needs to be doing more. He needs to be getting more forward. And because we're all getting more and more educated to the game now. And because the game's becoming more and more educated, because it's all about the inches, isn't it? Whether you listen to Al Pacino in Any Given Sunday, or whether you look at someone like Dave Brailsford, who runs the cycling team, it's all about the inches, and it's how they get the inches now. And you, as a pundit, or as someone like me, or as a fan, you've got to start understanding all that, or you'll fall behind. I know that's not for everyone, but you need to know the basics. Some of these people don't. Teddy Sass says, hello Ped, thought Gylfi was much better yesterday, getting on the ball a lot more. Was it something tactical or down to personnel, or just more to do with him finding his feet after a few games? It must be hard doing this on your own, mate, but you make it look easy. Well, thank you, Teddy. I thought it was all those things yesterday. I think with better personnel, he can move a little bit more freer. He's been sitting in that pocket, and me and Andy discussed this on the final word, and I'm just going to basically rip off what he said. But he was saying, like, with Moise Kean playing up front, Moise Kean stretches the defence, and that makes that pocket bigger for Gylfi to play in. You know, the pocket, like if you watch NFL, the quarterback gets the pocket, doesn't he? It's the same thing. It's like, it's an area of space that he plays in. And I thought what he did yesterday, and I thought he did at Lincoln as well, he moved to the right, and that allows Richarlison then to come centrally. So if he moves to the right and then takes up those positions to cross, it allows the team to be a bit more fluid. But he can move around because there's more space being created for him to go into those spaces. So I think it's all three, probably a bit fitter as well. I think we sometimes, and this is what we were talking about. Last week we were talking about Gylfi Sigurdsson, how his position was under threat. It's under threat not because of him, because of how the team is evolving. So if he wants to stay in the team, he has to evolve with the team. And and he's good enough, he's a good enough player, he's just got to, and I think he's got the intelligence to do that. So I thought he was excellent yesterday. I thought he was a lot better against Lincoln, and I thought he was excellent yesterday. Stiardi talking of Pickford, I think it's only a matter of time before he gets an assist this season. Yeah, I think you're right. Tim Whittle says, how boss was John Joe Kenny's goal? Delighted to see him break the scoring duck and hope he can kick on for the rest of the season. Yeah, let's hope he gets a level of consistency. I believe he had a very good game. I think he was man of the match as well. So let's hope he gets a level of consistency, because the week before he'd given a penalty away against Bayern Munich, which would have been a tough lesson. But, you know, playing against Bayern Munich, that's fantastic for the lad. And let's hope he gets to a level now that maybe comes back next season and is ready to go and ready to play for Everton at right back. I don't know whether he will, but that's what this season is designed to do. And when we were talking earlier about players going on loan, I mean, that is the ideal situation, isn't it? That's a player who's been in the first team for a couple of years, but still Everton felt like he needed a loan. They felt like his progression, they could do without him for a season, bring someone in on loan and let him go and play somewhere. So again, it's about progression. It's about knowing what the player needs, and he'll benefit from that. He really will. Really, really will. Steve the Steak says, all our lads seem happy and there's a great team spirit. They love us and we love them. It's getting there. It's getting there. I thought against Lincoln we showed a lot of spirit, lots of spirit when there was a little bit of niggle in the game. And obviously the other night it went to 2-2, and yesterday went to 2-2, and we came back and got the winning goal. So that shows tremendous spirit and fight. Whereas maybe previously we were the buckled. So that's good. Stephen Kelly said, how do you think Coleman started the season? Shows how strong the squad is when we're leaving Walcott and Davis out. I thought Coleman struggled first half against Wolves. I don't think he's been great. I think he's been all right, but not great. And I definitely see it as the next major position that we have to look at moving forward. I do. I think it's the next big position. And obviously talking about John Joe, can he do it, or do we need someone to come in and do that? Because I just think that, I mean, if we could get like a Luca Dean at right back, then I think we'd be a bit, you know, a bit of a force then going forward. But I still think his crossing's been appalling, really, really bad, really bad. I think sometimes he just lacks a bit of composure. I mean, their first goal yesterday, you know, I know it wasn't his fault, but, you know, I don't know, just deal with it better. He stops the ball for the lad to tap it in. Stiardi says, funny enough, this link was sent to me the other day about Redknapp's stupidest quotes, including Peter Schmeichel will be like a father figure to Kasper Schmeichel. He just says the stupidest things. I mean, I've met the fella. He's a lovely fella. But, yeah, crap. Teddy says, just made up, we signed Delph, thought it was an absolute brilliant deal for the price. Can't believe people thinking it was just an okay signing because we wouldn't be in the starting every week. I think he was brought in to be a starter, and if he's fit, he strolls into the team for me. There wasn't much excitement when we signed him, but he'll prove vital in the team if he stays fit, I think. We were excited. When we signed him. I thought he was a really, really good signing, a really good squad signing that could play in various positions, and the lad wants to play. You know, he wants to play. He knows that he can be a leader in this team. He knows he can be a captain on that pitch through his leadership and his experience and what he's learned off Pep Guardiola. So it's a brilliant signing. And as we've seen already, things happen, things change. You know, suspensions and injuries and how your team gels together. It's there's a lot to deal with in the entire season. John Lavelle says, here we go, first question or first comment regarding something that isn't football. John Lavelle says, just finished watching Chernobyl. Crazy to think that's a true story. Yeah, I suppose. It's a weird one, that, isn't it? It's a weird. Not saying it wasn't all true, but I'm going to go very Trump here. It's a version of the truth. The Russians won't tell you that that's their truth. The Russians believe that there was a CIA operative working within Chernobyl. I don't know. It's crazy to think that how they tried to hide it from the world. That's the crazy thing. That's the crazy part. You know, there's levels of, you know, the likes of the UK and Germany were getting levels of fallout in the atmosphere, and the Russians were saying no, there's nothing going on. I don't think they said it for like a week or something. And it's mad that people had to go into the water. Even that, the thing with the people who went in the water, they were said they had died, and then they said only one of them died, and there's a lot of stuff about that I don't think we'll ever find out, because it, you know, the might of the Soviet Union and those people, and it's all about saving face, isn't it? So, but it was a great show, and obviously based on a version of the truth. Whose truth? I don't know. Teddy says only small criticism I've got is that we're still reluctant to really go for the kill for me. Still seem to wait for something to happen when we take the lead instead of really trying to kill the other team off. It's all stages though, and I think that's the next step for us. To really move on to another level. I completely agree, Teddy. Again, we mentioned this in the final word. It's about being 2-1 up and going for the third, not reacting to it going to 2-2 in the last 10 minutes and then getting the winner. We did the same on Wednesday night. We allowed Lincoln to come back into the game, and then when they got the second, then we reacted to that and then scored a couple of goals. So, but it was really good. John Lavelle says, any guests lined up? I'd love for you to get the originals in again. Love what the lads are doing for the club and fans. Just a shame that they've been dumped in the corner and aren't being fully utilised, but that's typical Everton. Too scared to upset people, whether it's for the good of the club owner. I completely agree, mate. Completely agree. And I believe the first game of the season against Watford, they turned up and all the season tickets weren't together, and then the police and the stewards were telling them to sit down when they were singing. I mean, that's just pathetic. For me, I think they should be right in the centre of the Gladys Street. Right in the Gladys Street. And listen, said this loads of time, and I think Baz has a different opinion to me. But I think you've just got to say people, those seats next season, they're getting used for a family, for a singing section. Because what's the difference when we play a cup game and people are asked to move? The club will turn around and go, well, this is all in preparation for a new stadium. All right, yeah, I appreciate that. But, you know, but the club are doing what they're doing. I think what you got to do is to make the best of what they've got, and I don't think I'm hoping that that's what's happening, and that, you know, if they weren't all together, then I think that's poor from the club. You know, they said they were going to get an area, a singing section area, and if there's people in that area that aren't part of their group, then that takes away from what they're trying to do, and that's poor from Everton, really poor. Especially when they have give them a corner, which is like a corner that is people don't get season tickets in. They might get tickets for the game or whatever, and those lads are going out their way to create something. So yeah, we'll try and get them in soon. I think they wanted to come in first week, but they never got back to us. John says, okay. He says, sorry, by the way, I love Andy's input because he educates us in the areas. We haven't got a clue unless we put the work in that he does. I was annoyed the other day when John B, and I like John, by the way, was just dismissing the statue of throwing up. Yeah, but what I would say to that is, that's because that's another side of it, isn't it? John he's looking at the game from a different vantage. He's looking at it as a fan who's been going the game for years, home and away. And I think it's good that we have different types of guest outs to challenge everyone, and to look at it from other people's perspective, because I know there'll be people watching who won't be fully into the stats either. So I think it's important we have all different. Dismissing the statue of throwing up just because he's not interested or think they mean anything doesn't mean it's okay to dismiss. He's a guest and is there to contribute in his knowledge in the area he's educated in. Not to stab at John, by the way, as I said earlier, I like the guy and enjoy his contributions, especially on how the club works in the financial aspect. Just don't dismiss things as if they're nothing at all. Yeah, people often dismiss things they don't understand. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Steve Kelly, Coleman loves a chip to back post when no one is there. Yeah. Or it's the first man. Tim Whittle, I know it's early, but which team in the Premier League has surprised you in a good way this season? Sheffield United, I suppose. 2 down at Chelsea, but I don't know what Chelsea's level is. I don't know, it's been a bit of a muchness, hasn't it? So far. The 3 promoter teams have been a bit of a mixed bag, haven't they? Villa looked good against us, and then at the weekend, although horrendous decision, by the way, against Palace, horrendous. Norwich have lost 3 of the 4 games. No matter how much you want to sugarcoat it, they've been beaten 3 times and are conceding a lot of goals. As I say, Sheffield United they're on 5 points, aren't they? So they've only been beaten once. So they're doing all right. J Max says Coleman has always lacked composure in the final third. He's always been too slow to react to the balls in our own box too. Example yesterday for the and for the own goal against Watford last season. No, I completely agree. Steve Hardy says one more Redknapp quote from the link. The perfect result for United today is a draw. Yeah, because winning is overrated. Steve threw that last bit in, by the way. Let's see what else we've got. Steve Donahue says, Ped, you must be doing something right at Toffee TV as more people joining every week. I see it on the forum, new names every week, and that Patreon led to you and Baz and Andy in doing a top job. I've been on Patreon from the start. Cheers, Steve. If you put a poll about Toffee TV with all of us patrons, you would see the support you and Baz keep it going, mate. My money going nowhere. Is right, Steve. Well, we try our best, you know. I mean, sitting here on my own, doing the best I can. It'll be Baz next week because I'm going away next week. So I'll be dead interested to see whether Baz can use fancy graphics though. Saying that, I don't even know he's got any fancy graphics, so I'm taking my laptop with me. So and that's where all the fancy graphics are. Nova seeing this week, I'll set that all up for him. But let's just see if he uses them. That'll be interesting. Stop laughing, Billy, because if he doesn't know how to use them, you'll need to know. Yeah. Mark says, just a reminder for the player ratings, patrons' average ratings for the Wolves game will be posted in the Discord forum in a few hours. Yes, make sure there's a link there to do the player ratings, and I will do a video about it on Wednesday, I think. So if Mark gets if you do them all today and tomorrow, and Mark gets them over to me, I'll try and do a video either on Wednesday or Thursday about the player of the month, and we'll do a player of the month every month. How about that? How about that? Sorry. Because Mark keeps pestering me to do something with all his hard work. So we'll do a player of the month every month. And we might do other things often as well. I don't know. I'll have to. It's been a long couple of weeks, or nearly 3 weeks. So everything like new has been pushed to the. I think I've done all right. I think it's been okay. Yeah. I think it's been okay. As I said, when the season starts, everything settles down and you get more consistency. John Lavelle says still early, but predictions for top 6 and relegated 3 of what you've seen so far. I mean, that's a difficult one, isn't it? I think Norwich will go. I don't know. It's difficult. I think Brighton will struggle. Sheffield United ultimately might struggle because of their squad. Newcastle have been alright the last couple of games, but again, squad-wise, you don't know. It's a difficult one. And top 6, Tottenham haven't started great. United haven't started great. Chelsea haven't started great. Arsenal have been so-so. Leicester have done okay. Yeah, so Watford have been crap though, haven't they? That's an interesting one. Watford 1 point out of the first 4 games. They've been quite poor. I just don't know whether they'll have the goal scorers this season, although they have brought players in Welbeck and the other kid they brought in, Sarr. So it would depend on them whether they can get up to the level, I suppose. Phenomenal BS Baby Broke says Souness was a fraud of a manager. He is. He ruined Liverpool. Won a 2-horse race in Scotland by being the highest spending club in Britain. As a player, he was a thug. As a pundit, he's a bitter old C word. I don't even think I can say that word on Patreon. Graham Finch says, any news on Gabama if Gabama needs an injury? Not that I'm aware of. Not that the club have made public anyway. I don't think the club will make public. And I'm not sure when they would make it public or when that decision would be made. It mightn't be made till maybe 2-3 weeks into it. You've got to let it settle down first. There's literally no news today. Nothing. So there's nothing really happening. I'm just trying to have a look now, see if there's any. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything happening. Bolton have signed 3 players. Good for them. Bobby Duncan has signed for Fiorentina. 2 million Scouser in Fiorentina. Is he a Scouser? I don't know. Bobby Duncan sounds like a Scouse name. Yeah, there's not much going on. Not much anywhere going on, even though it's transfer deadline day in Europe. A lot of Scottish players moving around Scotland by the looks of it. Keylor Navas has gone to Paris Saint-Germain. Right, let's have a look. Last few. Done nearly an hour. John Byrne says, hi Ped, well done for keeping things ticking over whilst Baz is away. Thank you, John. Thank you very much. To be honest, it's not necessarily keeping things ticking over. It's just having to do everything, which gives me a lot less time to do stuff. But it's been all right. It's been okay. Man, it's more just being like, haven't been able to like start anything new. So we've just been doing the base level shows, and we haven't been able to do things like any other business or any more Road to Glories or anything like that. So yeah, I haven't really done anything for YouTube, really. So, but once, Baz is back Thursday, hopefully. So, and then I go away Saturday till next Saturday. So it'll be Baz all next week, and then the following week we'll be reunited. And then we'll start looking forward to doing more stuff, more shows, and all the rest of it. Steve S says, did the originals get a bigger seat allocation for the singing, etc. this week? If not, what's going on? I don't know, mate. I've not spoke to them. I've not seen them make any comment about it. I just know they weren't very happy after the Watford game. But I don't know what's going on. John Lavelle said, would love Watford and their Snake Brigade to go down and Silver to break the top 6. Twitter beefs would be a meltdown. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about clubs like Watford, and I think a few too many Evertonians get caught up getting into Twitter spats with Watford fans and West Ham fans and fans of clubs that have never, ever done anything like Everton Football Club have. And I'm hoping that if we can start turning our attention to the top 6, then we can start. I mean, it'd be nothing better, would there, to get into a bit of a Twitter beef with, like, you know, DT and his massive head. I mean, because it is a massive head, let's be honest. That's why he wears a cap, because underneath the cap is the biggest forehead you've ever seen. I'd rather get into stuff like that. I ain't going to get into Twitter beefs with Watford fans. I'm sorry, but no. Nonsense clubs. Absolute nonsense clubs. What else have we got? Stephen Kelly says, think you and Baz deserve a lot of credit for the content you give us. I have seen many other channels and they don't give as much as you lads. Wasn't very impressed with Wolves yesterday. Yeah, all the other channels are crap, Steve. They're all crap. We're the best in the world, officially, Billy said. I just think Wolves were a bit like long ball, weren't they? I think that's what they are. They just play it in a way that makes it look like it's not long ball because they've got good players. The dreaded Europa League could happen to them. Wouldn't be surprised to see them finish bottom half. Yeah, it'll be tough for them. Steve Hardy says, how are you and Baz doing in the Predictor League? Had a good week myself, moving up to 8. Brilliant. That's surely a European place. I started well and then dropped off, I think. I just go bing, 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 bing. I don't really put too much thought into it. Evan Osborne says, having Richarlison, Iwobi and Bernard on the wings is very exciting. Nice to have a legitimate option off the bench. Yeah, and I imagine that will, you know, all of them will have some time on the bench, you know, when they need a rest. But it's all about making themselves, you know, undroppable and giving us an option in the team. I think Richarlison is very much undroppable, but Bernard simply wasn't doing enough. As much as he is a very good footballer, you know, you've got to look at the assists and the goals and judge it on that. And now he's got to fight, and now he's got to, you know, prove that he's good enough to be in the team. Ian Lyons, bit late today, Pep, but must say how brilliantly we played yesterday, especially Delphin Richarlison. Yes, Steve Hardy, think we need to get a banner made for the game at Molineux showing the equivalent unemployment rate for Liverpool and Wolverhampton. Let's wait, because who knows what the unemployment rate will be by that time, if the scruffy Tory so-and-so gets his way. Steve Kelly, Would there be any chance of coming on the podcast? Well, I'm always here to bribe. Always here to bribe, Steve. So, you know, you've got to think about these things before you commit to them. Tim Whittle says, Bournemouth could be a banana skin for us. They've not started great, but have good players. They could be. We always seem to struggle down there. I think it's live on telly as well, but we've just got to go at them, haven't we? Got to turn up and have to go at them. Dave Robinson, heard anything from Bales? I think he's coming up in a couple of weeks. Little bit, I've heard little bits from him on WhatsApp and stuff. Right, let's round this up because we've done an hour. I've done an hour. Gary Ward says, wish your US viewers a happy Labour Day. Yeah, and sorry, it's the end of the summer. Happy Labour Day. There you go. Is it? I mean, do you get the day off? Derek Houlton is a true Balassi. He's just moved to his parlour. I don't know if people still have parlours, Degs. I'm not sure if that's still a thing. I'm not sure if some people actually know what a parlour is. John Burns says, been loving the Patreon podcast with yourself, Baz and Piv. Thanks, John. Right, there you go. I'm going to end it there because I've got to try and figure out what I can put in the News Daily. We'll wait and see. Thank you for joining me as ever. I'll be back tomorrow. I will. I promise you. I will be back tomorrow. I'll see you then. See you later.